I think it's important to study sustainability and happiness because we all strive to be happy. And I believe that the pursuit of happiness is in direct conflict with sustainability. I believe that we're focused on material goods and consumption and finding pathways to happiness that don't necessarily line up with sustainability principles. And to me, happiness is what we're all after. And so if we're all after happiness, I think it's important that we think about how we can pursue happiness while also being ecologically, environmentally, and socially sustainable.
So initially, the community engagement group formed as really the group that would go out into the community, engage with the residents, find out what projects there were for other groups to work on, figure out maybe what the wants and needs were, find out maybe other neighbors that were willing to engage with us from the people that we already had contact with, follow up with past projects, so on and so forth. And we really did a good job with that. But the thing that I think we were really successful at is as the semester progressed, we realized that maybe our original intent needed to morph a little bit to fit the needs of the class and the neighborhood. So we worked with the teams in our class in terms of just really being kind of a checkpoint for them and making sure that they were keeping this happiness framework within whatever they were doing in terms of sustainable interventions, and that they were checking their mindsets and making sure they weren't going in as experts. And then even continuing on throughout the semester and thinking about maybe how we could market ourselves to the community. So we moved into that space where we could potentially create videos and maybe a social media presence. And so going forward, I think that that will be a really good start for groups to continue our work as a community engagement team.
I think my biggest takeaway from this class is it's just a different experience completely from the 4 years you spend as a sustainability student. It really is just a lot of in class, and we talk about these theories and we talk about these concepts, but this was really the first opportunity we had to actually put it to the test. I think one of the major parts of sustainability is people, and that's what we did. We started just talking to people. We went up to people's houses and we talked with them. We just went door to door in the neighborhood, passing out candy and getting to know some of the neighbors and just talking about, what we were all about and what we were trying to do. And when we took the time to explain kind of where we were coming from, it was really amazing to see how many people were genuinely interested in what we were trying to do. And it was really nice to see how appreciative, even if someone didn't necessarily want our help in their yard or anything like that, they were very appreciative that we were taking our time going into the neighborhood and kind of helping out their neighbors. That was really nice.
We learned a lot. To start with, before we got to the community, we came up with a lot of plans. Like one of the plans that I wanted to do was to survey residents about kind of how they feel about how cohesive the community was and whether or not they feel like their voices in like the local city government is respected. And so the first interview that I did with a resident, it turned out to be not such a good idea. Didn't really bring up the type of things I was looking at, and I was reminded by the resident that I have a lot of book knowledge, but not all of those things in the books work out in real life. So this helped us reshape our focus, and honestly, the block party was a much better way of engaging in community cohesiveness and creating community cohesiveness than a survey or interview would have ever been. And so one of the things that I took away was learning to not come with too many pre-plans and preconceptions. One of the things that Scott told us to repeat was, I know nothing. And it's with that mentality that you step in and you look at kind of how can I help instead of how can I impose this plan on you. And so that was a great lesson. And in the end, I think abiding by that lesson, we were able to, in fact, get a lot of our original goals achieved.
I had a very interesting time trying to figure out that like I like straight edges, 90-degree corners, I love technical stuff, just science-based, and it was very interesting to go in and teach abstract concepts and having to build something as abstract as trust and even friendship, trying to inspire and cultivate another concept of just happiness, which is a really hard thing to pin down in and of itself. Like even individually, we can't really define our own happiness, let alone what's good for someone else, let alone what's good for several other people in this very interesting dynamic of a neighborhood. I had a lot of fun, just like the stimulation you get from that and just seeing how happy it makes people because, you know, maybe they couldn't or, you know, they just weren't able, they didn't have the time, and we just go in and be like, don't worry, we're going to do this very random thing for you, and it's for the sake of academics, and we just hope it makes you happy.
What is so good about this class is you get to work with people with such different mindsets and backgrounds, and I think it really adds to the experience. And while we were working with a community, we formed our own community. So our little community engagement group became a community, and then our class, and I remember doing a reading about community engagement, and they said, you know, part of community engagement is utilizing the different skill sets amongst the residents, and then I realized that was something we were doing within our own community. So if we got kicked a project like, hey, we want a garden bed fixed, or we needed a tree planted, we would think, okay, who in our community can best address this? As community engagement, I felt we had a really good opportunity where we could just jump into any project because we didn't have our own agenda. We didn't have any food projects or beautification projects that we specifically wanted to do. Our only job was to make sure that other things got done. So helping other groups in our community actually, I think, taught me a lot, and it gave me a lot of happiness in the end because I got to see them accomplish what they wanted to do, and I got to see the residents, you know, really benefit and enjoy working with the other students in our own group as well.
I've learned so much from this process from my students. I've learned how to teach and learn at the same time, and I think that's a gift. Learning from them and understanding the way that they process the world around them and the systems that they believe in and what they're up to in the world. Probably my most favorite thing about the class is watching the students struggle at times and be scared and nervous and frustrated. And then it just all comes together at the end of the class, you know, in the last few weeks. And I just feel so blessed to be able to watch that process and to feel the students' energy change and see them grow confident. And I think that to me is the most important takeaway for the class, is the ability to be confident in what we can do as individuals without someone telling us how to do it.